Right, we are live. Welcome back. This is ComicsBurgh on the Edge. I'm here with Paige. Let's get something out of the way before we get started. Let's hit that intro. So, I mean, it's another wonderful, hot, humid day here in Comicsburg. So, like down in your neck of the woods down there in Florida.
Nah, man, it's just hot. Raining every 2 seconds. It could rain on a sunny day out here. It's rain season, hurricane season. So, yeah, just what it is. Go outside, be 90 degrees 1 minute, and be a hurricane the next second. So,
That's crazy. Yeah, so I mean, the weather's been kind of up and down. Like we keep getting forecasts uh, of rain, but it won't rain because it's so hot.
wow. Yeah, that's not how it is out here. The rain pops up like I don't know what. You don't even see it coming. Sometimes you can watch the rain down the block. And the rain is crazy out here.
It's
I
like
never
stock.
experienced it. I never experienced rain in New York like I have in Florida.
It'd be stalking you like a horror movie. They should make a horror movie where like rain just stalks people around.
Out of nowhere. I don't know. Even when the sun's up, like what
Right.
cloud is it coming from? It's like out of nowhere. It just changes. Boom.
All right. Before we get into the Kickstarter, let's do a little bit of cleanup on what's going on else in Comicsburg. So right now, in previous catalog, we've got Daisy Chain and the Edge issue 7. So the Daisy Chain, that's two covers, well, four covers altogether. Two covers without the trade dress. And for those who don't know what trade dress is, that is any logos or insignias that's on the covers are off the cover.
Yeah, virgin covers. Yeah,
Oh
virgin
yeah,
covers. Yeah.
virgin covers, no trade dress, no logos, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we're here to inform people on how, with all the terminology and lingo we like to throw out there, that no one knows what we're talking about.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So these are the second prints. So first print out the door. You can
First print
actually,
did well.
yeah,
And actually it's a demand for more. So like comic book stores were like, yo, we sold out of this and it was so well received
hmm
with the reviews and people that read it. And then people that was buying it, even from me, it's like, yo, we need more, or we need multiple covers, or So I was
yeah.
lucky enough to have a demand for a second print, and
Right.
that's what we put out there before you put out issue 2,
Cool.
so you
So I
let
mean,
more people
so
get a hold of it.
one thing that you'll notice is, from not from everyone in Comicsburg, for me specifically, and for now for Paige, is we love covers, and we are more than willing to sell you that same book with a different cover if people are asking for it. So you even like issue
Yeah,
7.
if the
Right,
demand makes it.
right.
Yeah, if the demand makes it. So
So what I like to
I was
do
lucky
is,
enough for that demand. So
right, right. What I like to do is I like to get, like, for each instance of the book, I like to have a different cover. So if I'm going direct to a store, I might have one cover. If I'm going through Diamond, it might be a different cover. At a convention, you may
that's
be able to
right.
get a different cover. Through a Kickstarter, a
That's
different cover.
right.
So depending
That's
on
right.
the venue where you're getting the book, I want to make sure that it's something unique to that venue. So you're not, oh, I already have that cover, or I don't really like that cover. Well, you have another cover. Generally at cons, I'll have at least three covers for each book, and then it allows the person to say, oh, well, if you don't like that cover, here I got another cover for you that you might like, and let people choose. That way, it's more unique to them. And then sometimes they might want to buy all the covers, which has happened to me at shows where somebody was like, "Give me all the covers." I'm like, "All right, you got it," because
That's
we got
right.
plenty of covers. So this
That's
cover
right. That's right.
for issue 7 is the diamond cover. The cover that is in the Kickstarter is a different cover, and we also will have an unlock for another cover for issue 7, which will be a wraparound cover.
Nice.
So covers. We like covers.
Mhm.
All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, covers is the only part of the comic book that you could really sell the artwork. When the comic book itself has so many other elements to it, story, lettering, coloring. Cover is the only part that you could really have fun with the artwork and how your characters look to the audience, and
Yeah.
I love that part. So
Yeah, but it's the fun part because it allows you to do something original or something special, like even for shops, because we have done unique covers for comic shops and for our buddy in the chat here, Spantics. We did a Spantics cover specifically to them for issue number 11 of The Edge, where we have the guys from that show on the cover in the book, and it's kind of like a battle of the bands with our group, Bad Fan. And like we'll get into that sooner or later as we get closer to issue 11 either being unlocked in the Kickstarter or available through Diamond or through a shop or through Kickstarter or at a convention. So let's check out where we're at on the Kickstarter now. So we'll stop sharing that, and we will go to the other screen. And luckily, I already had this stuff prepped and ready to go because I don't want to fumble through these things. So we are right at the cusp of being 50% funded. Still 22 days to go, so still plenty of time to rock and roll on this. So I did add stretch goals. So our first stretch goal at 2,000 will unlock issue number 10 with the Kai Red cover. So
nice cover, awesome cover.
Well, we get into the mix with Kai Red in issue 9 leading into issue 10. So we'll get into his story pretty soon. So he is part of what we're calling the God's Thunder storyline. So the God's Thunder are, if you read issue 1, the God's Thunder are the organization that was in issue 1 who hate people with special abilities. So in their minds that they're an abomination, they shouldn't exist, and they want to eliminate them. So what's the easiest way to eliminate someone with superpowers is to have your own superpowered guy to go and take them out. So Kai Red does have his hammer, which we somewhat see here. His hammer is powered by various modes of energy. So in his first appearance, he drains a nuclear facility and destroys it. He then goes and attacks and destroys the large Halidon Collider. And we'll get into why that'll be important later on in the story of why he did that and the consequences of doing that, which is going to result in some things with Interim's powers. So at 2,500, we're going to unlock the Revenant minifigure. So we released a Blaine minifigure some time ago, and now we're going to get that Revenant minifigure. So when we do either the Kickstarter or the full launch for the Blaine action figure, we'll have the minifigures of Blaine and Revenant as part of that. So you'll be able to get those guys in that one. That's coming. I wanted to do it this year, but this will probably leak into next year. So we've had the action figure up for pre-order on the website. We were going to do a Kickstarter just to clean up the end of the funding for it, to make sure that we get everything out the door and into everyone's hands. And that's we're working with Loose Collector on the action figure, and it's going to be 1/18 scale, so GI Joe size. So you'll be able to beat up your GI Joes with.
Edge versus GI Joe. I like it.
I mean, we like I said that Sif is commenting that on the minifigs. We love merch, so as much merch as we can get out there into the world is always going to be good, because there's blend there, and there's crossover in some of this stuff. So that's why we're doing not only the action figures and the minifigures, but the card game. So the Scattered Nexus card game.
Wow.
We're working
a card game too.
Oh yeah, with Eli Beard. He was on the show last week. So a Scattered Nexus, and there is going to be a Edge conversion. So that'll include we'll get your characters in there too. So we'll have chess. as part of the conversion and other characters. So we're going to do not only an Edge conversion, but a ComicsBurgh conversion. So it'll be
Nice.
any character that is part of the ComicsBurgh umbrella family will be able to get into the card game. So I mean, it's something different, and it's crossover. So what we want to do is try to grab people who play card games but don't read comics, and then push over people who don't play card games and do read comics, that are interested in just a little bit more of the universe and the characters that are in it, because now it's not just a card that has data on it that says it talks about the character. Now you can say, oh, so we can take this into the card game world and beat up Revenant in the card game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had a similar idea like that before too. When I was going to do a playing deck, because I'm a spades player. But yeah, I like this idea. I like this idea a lot.
So I mean, I actually thought about that, like cards for like, because we're our next one shot is Blaine High Stakes, and that story takes place in a casino in Las Vegas, where
Nice.
the slimy looking gentleman sitting on the couch that doesn't give a damn about what's going on outside that door, and his bodyguard have a little bit of information that he wants to sell to the highest bidder. So the kind of the government sends Blaine in to pull him out, while other nefarious agents are coming in either to kill him or to get the information from him. And if you're thinking, oh man, that sounds just like a movie I watched one time. Yeah, that movie is Smoking Aces, and yes, it is somewhat based on that movie, because I mean I like the movie so much, and it gave me so many ideas on the story. That the character there that we'll name later was only going to be part of the story, but we extended his role beyond this story into all 3 Blaine one shots. So the Blaine has a trilogy of one shots coming, and this character is not only aligned with somewhat with Blaine in his past, but somewhat with Blaine's dealings back here in his hometown, because Blaine's from Pittsburgh, and his uncle still lives in Pittsburgh, and his uncle is a reputable businessman named Vincent Antonelli. He is a businessman. He's not a criminal of any kind. He is a reputable businessman. So if you see him doing anything illegal, it's business purposes only. He's not a criminal. Once again, not a criminal.
Smoking A. I remember that movie too.
Yeah. I mean, I love the ending. I think the ending is one of the best movie endings I've ever seen. Like where it stars Ryan Reynolds. And
Ryan Reynolds? You're not talking about the movie with Common?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds the star.
Is he?
Yeah. That's pre Deadpool too. Yeah.
And that's the movie with Common and I think Alicia. No, not Alicia Keys.
Yeah, Alicia Keys. Yep.
It is Alicia Keys, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, so it's a really good ending to the movie where he finally figures out that his handlers in the FBI aren't being straight with him, and he just does something. You're like, man, that's not going to end well for him. But he did that. But I mean, I appreciate that he did it. So I mean, if you haven't seen Smoking Aces before, check it out because you're going to see some similarity between that movie and this storyline with him. So once we kick this off, this will kick off with the action figure. So anyone who has already pre-ordered action figure will get a copy of Blaine High Stakes for free. It'll have a different cover, of course, because we're all about the covers, as I was saying before. Like in each instance, no matter where you get the figure, you're gonna have a way to get the book. So we'll include with the figure, if you got it at retail, a code that'll allow you to go to our website and order the book for free. Of course, that'll have another different cover. So as part of that, we're also going to have custom poker chips for the casino. It's called the Wildfire. It's the name of the casino.
Okay.
So we
that sounds good. That sounds good.
I mean, like I said, is that merch, tying things in with the book. So like you said, is that as part of that Kickstarter, we had this pen as part of that too, and this pen is the symbol on Mystic Swords. And there are other ones. So if you read issue 1, you'll see there are other symbols that appear in the book in various places. So like keep your eyes open when you're reading issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3, issue 4, and all the issues for those symbols that appear. They all have meaning, and they're all going to mean something as we move further on in the book. So it's hidden in some places too. It's hidden on some of the characters. So keep your eyes open because you might peep it in a weird place. So moving forward, one of our upcoming events for ComicsBurgh is going to be local comic shop day. So if you're not familiar with that, that is now in September. So it used to be, I believe, in November. So it's the last Saturday in September. So if your comic shop is unaware of Local Comic Shop Day, check out the website, localcomicshopday.com. We will be at New Dimension Comics in the waterfront, slinging comics, talking to people, doing whatever we need to do to try to make this as popular as New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day is a huge, huge day for comic shops. It's like Black Friday at comic book stores. I see more traffic in comic shops on local comic shop. I mean, on New Comic Book Day than I do any other day of the year. So we're trying to make this like that. And next year we're hoping to bring back Indie Comic Book Day. And I'm going to steal an idea that Ed Lavelle gave me, calling it Independence Day, and hopefully we can have it July 5th. So that'll be a Saturday. So July 5th, the day after July 4th, will be Comic Independence Day, where you can get your independent comics.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I love that direction.
Right, man. We're like, let's say is that merch, try things. If it sticks, good. If it doesn't, we try it again on another day. Before we jump back into the edge, I want to let everyone know that our buddy Tony, who was on last week with us, who owns Expert Grading Services, who does slap books, and he did slap books for the Edge, is doing a customer appreciation month, which ends today. So swing on over to the site. You can get discounts on all your grading. I will pop up. So this is issue 5 of the Edge, which graded by Tony. And so I'm going to check out his website. Like I said, today's the last day. Get those slabs. Also, Buddy Sif does have graded copies of issue 11 of the Edge. So I believe he's doing an unboxing and is probably going to be giving those out. So I'm not sure if he's going to sell any of them or not, but I mean, merch is merch. So check out Spine Ticks. That is every Saturday at 11 p.m. Sometimes it's late for me if I'm on the show and I can't last till 1, 2 in the morning chopping up with these guys because he's on the West Coast. So they start at 8. So it was easy when I was at a convention in Vegas to get it on at almost the same time. But 11 Eastern is a little late for me, but I hop on sometimes and chop it up with those guys, or I jump into the chat. So it's a really good show.
Yeah,
people are having a lot of fun on it. So check out Spine Ticks. Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern time on the YouTubes. So jumping back into the Edge. So one thing that we also have as part of it is our card sets. So this is different than the card sets belonging to the Scattered. So, well, no, they're part of the Kickstarter. So, but they're just general cards. So they're cards. You had those old school Marvel cards that had the characters on the front and then all their data on the back of the card. So this
that's right.
The front of the card looks like. So all the cards are numbered, and it goes by set, and then I think I did it in alphabetical order. So of course Blaine is first because BL becomes before BO, and Bold is the next card. So then that's the front of the card, and then the back of the card would be this. So it has like a little bit of information on the character, weapons and equipment, physical characteristics, and their powers and abilities. So the one thing about Blaine is that he has 7 tattoos. And when we were talking before, about the little symbol and how it's hidden in some places. So uh, it's on Blaine's temple, under his hair. The symbol is, and we show it once or twice, but mostly we try to keep it hidden because we're trying to draw people to it a little bit more to the swords, and try to figure out, well, why is the symbol on these swords, and why does he have this tattooed on his forehead, or I'm sorry, on his temple. So as we go further into the story, we're gonna find out more about that. So then we have his abilities. Blaine is able to generate a field of energy around his body, which similar to the Invisible Woman. It's a shield. The only drawback is that there's no oxygen inside of there. It's like he doesn't carry a plant with him when he's inside of here to kind of filter out his carbon dioxide and turn it to oxygen. So you can't keep a field barrier up for long. It also doesn't protect him from temperatures. So there's no insulation. So if he's in a room on fire, it's going to be hotter inside of the barrier. If he's in the room that's cold, it's going to be colder inside of the barrier. So that's just one of the nuances of the powers. And one of the things that we'll learn as we go along in the story is that some of these powers, I mean, the weaknesses to these powers were put in there purposely. So to give someone, we don't know who, an advantage over these people that have powers. So the next card in the set is Bolt. And then we move to him. And then Interim.
Now, Interim, her powers is leaving a lasting effect in the comic books, correct?
Well, so her main ability is to use that kind of portal to see 5 seconds into the future, which gives her like an advantage in a fight, so she can anticipate or know where people are going to move to. So in the first issue, you see her fighting a few people and using the portals as a means of kicking their asses. So she's putting a portal in front of them and then punching them, kicking them through the portal. And she's getting the jump on people. But as I say, like in this story, is that these powers aren't helpful in all the situations that you think you're going to be in, and sometimes they don't work the way that you think they're working. So not only can that, people can use them for transportation. So she can open a portal in 2 locations and then use them to get the jump on other people. The problem is that she's been doing this since she was very young. So I think I put her at 7 years old when she started doing open these portals, and some of them she can't close anymore because they're too powerful. There's too much a drain on the universe and the time stream, so it starts to affect time in weird ways.
So she's not like a instant teleportation, like say like a night crawler. It's more like a tunnel from one spot to another.
Right. So think of it like a wormhole.
Okay.
Right? Because it's open on both ends. So, and that's why we consider it like a door. Like a door can open from both sides. It's not just a door that goes nowhere. Something in that case. So again, portals are still open. I mean, in some cases, like as she's older now, she has somewhat control over what she can do. She has to close them. You can't keep them open because like I said, that the energy starts to affect other things. So we'll get into that later in the book, as those portals that are still open are going to have some lasting effects on the universe, and maybe that starts in issue 9, maybe in issue 9, maybe issue 10, maybe 11.
Well, coming. I have a question. Does a portal stay stationary? Like in the upcoming Phantom crossover, she portals into the chest jet, the Eagle One, as it's moving. Yeah. Now, as the jet moves, will the portal stay in the same spot, or will it move as the jet moves?
Yes, because it's not only a bridge; it's time based. So one of the things that I always I chuckle about a little bit is time travel, because you have to know where exactly the Earth was if you're going into the past or the future. Because if not, you're going to teleport into space, right? So her portal is time based, so it's going to keep up with time. So instead of it being a stationary target, it's a stationary in that moment in time. So as the plane's moving, the time is moving with it, right? So it's keeping pace with that time, which is why she can't keep it open, because again, it's going to start affecting the time ratio differences.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, of course it makes sense. I made it up. There's no science involved in that. So next card is Mystic. So Mystic can generate energy and shoot them through his sword. He can also contain energy in the sword, making them pretty much the most powerful metal on the planet. And since we're not in those other universes metals don't matter as far as you know what I'm talking about. So you can see again the symbols on the swords. We still haven't revealed if the energy is coming from him or from the swords themselves, but we will start to cover that in the Mystic Legends one shot, which is part of the trade for Volume 2. So there's a backup story that is going to be like the kickoff of that story, and why Mystic is trying to kind of close a chapter out of the swords so they belong to him. It's kind of in the mode of the previous owners of the swords are kind of jabbering at him from beyond the grave, and this is why like he dresses the way he does, because they're influencing him through the swords. And there's going to be a really good reason why he's wearing like medieval armor. So next character, Randa. So Randa is kind of our overpowered character. So she has the ability to absorb any kind of energy, redirect it, use it to allow her to fly. She can throw fireballs. So she absorbs fire. She can throw fireballs. She absorbs electricity. She has electric powers. So, but her weakness to these powers is that she has to continuously be absorbing some kind of energy, because if she doesn't, she falls into a coma.
So you mean when she absorbs any energy, like that's thrown at her, like a bishop?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Absorbs, but what different is that she doesn't have to kind of readily release it from her body. She can store it for time. So she's like a battery, like a rechargeable battery. But she actually always.
So in other words, she could use your powers against you. So if you got fire powers and use it against her, she could reverse it. You got electrical or sound or anything any type of power that you send at her, she could absorb it and reverse it back to you.
Right. Any kind of energy, she'll absorb it. So this actually is played out in issue 4 when they're fighting our fire-based villain Celios, where he sets her on fire, and he gets a little surprised when it doesn't burn her. The reason why she used her visor is that when she first used her power, she almost blinded herself, and that comes into play also later in issue 4. When she's going to have to start wearing glasses because her vision is getting worse. Our next character is Shift. So Shift has the ability to kind of change the molecular structure of any inanimate object. So as you can see, he can take like a sand and turn it into a mountain. He can melt bullets. He can turn sand into blades. So he's changing the sand into like glass. So he can do that like in quick fashion, like heat turns sand into glass, but it takes a while. He can do it instantaneously and then use it as a weapon. He can generate fire just by touching a stick and changing the molecular structure of that stick. The problem is that his weakness, it doesn't work on flesh or anything that's organic. And he doesn't notice. And he tries to use his powers on something organic and they don't work.
Okay.
So our next character, Spinoff. So Spinoff is the character that can mimic the powers of other characters. So like I guess like Mimic from X-Men, or any other character that has the ability to copy a power, like Copycat, or I think Hope from X-Men can do that.
When you say copy, you mean like physically, or like say the one that could reverse powers? So if Spinoff is next to that character, could he reverse the same powers?
Well, no, he can take the power. So it's like Rogue maybe, but he doesn't have to touch anybody. where he can take the
Okay.
power. Yeah. Well, he doesn't steal the powers. He can use them. So you see in the bottom image, he's using Blaine's barrier to protect Blaine from the bullets. Or he's using internal powers to open a portal. He's using Bolt's powers to create electricity. The thing about that is that he doesn't lose that power, and he can have as many as he wants.
Now, how long does that power duration last in his body?
Forever. He doesn't have to ever
Oh,
give
wow.
up. Right. But the problem with that is again, since the Edge has those little weaknesses in it. If you remember that it can kill you or drive you insane. So imagine someone who is containing hundreds of powers, how that's going to affect them, them physically and mentally. So again, pay attention in issue 1, and you're going to start to see some things because we kind of take spinoff off the board in issue 1, but like keep an eye out because you don't see a bot. Just saying. All right, so that is card set 1. So the second card set, let me scroll it back up. So that starts off with our character. This is Dr. Reynard Edgerton. And again, I'm going to say Edgerton. And I'm going to keep saying Edgerton just to hint at something. So he is a piece of garbage, I'll say, as a person, because he's been experimenting on people for quite some time to try to find out where these powers are coming from in the state. So he's going to be the guy that's going to break down the Edge and help his buddy, we'll get to in a couple minutes, kind of commercialize it and sell it for cash. Right. So our next
just to be clear, the Edge is the drug that is giving everybody these powers, correct?
Yes, that we know of. That we know of.
Okay.
Yeah. We're still not sure about Mystic yet. So this is Joshua, and again, you see the symbol once again. He gave himself a self-tattoo with a needle and carved that into his chest. Joshua is the leader of God's Thunder that we talked about before. He hates people with powers, hates them for his own reasons. He's been searching kind of the earth to figure out the weaknesses and to find out where all this stuff started. And he's going to get some information that's going to make him pretty formidable later on in the book as we go on. Okay. Our next character is the character I was talking about before, Marcus Drake. He is the owner, CEO of Drake Industries. It is a pharmaceutical company that he's trying to break down the Edge because he wants to use it in a commercial fashion because he wants to create this. So this is the commercial version of the Edge. It's called Pinnacum. The medical name is this, and it's going to soon be available not only in the book, but to anyone who is back in the Kickstarter. You get the bottle with the pills. And again, please, when you get these, do not ingest them. Don't eat them. Don't lick them. Don't stick it up your nose. Don't put it in any other open orifice. Please don't. Crack it open. There's a surprise inside. If you get a surprise, feel free. We'll give you information on how to contact me to get your surprise. So again, Marcus Drake from Drake Industries. The next card is everyone's favorite bad guy, Revenant. So if you already read issue 1, if you haven't read issue 1, Revenant's ability is if he bleeds, he duplicates. That power, as we know, is for right now is exponential. So there could be multiple versions of Revenant out here. The weakness with that is that his brain is then split between the duplicates, and he feels everything they feel. So he's a little off his rocker, and feeling the pain of these duplicates dying or falling to their own doom is affecting his brain mentally. So he's got
Wow.
a cracked psyche. So that is
So his duplicates stay in place, like they don't absorb back into him at like multiple man or something like that. They become their own individuals.
Yes. Well, not their own individual. He still has somewhat control of them, but we'll get into that later in the book. There's a reason why we don't like have them like melt away or anything like that. They're originally when he got his powers, that did happen where the duplicates did dissipate over time. That is not happening anymore. So as things progress with them and the powers, these duplicates start to become more of their own persons, and Revenant may not like that. So our next card is Tandra. So Tandra Johnson is the liaison between the strike team and the U.S. government. So she's the person who formed the team. She recruited everyone. She is their resident, not only computer expert, but the team's doctor. So anything happens with any of the team, she's the one that's going to patch them up and then tell them, hey, don't do that again. Or she's going to be helping them like track things down on the internet and things like that. So our next card is Richard Tartable. So Richard Tartable is the commander of the strike team. A lot of the stuff going on with him is classified, but we know that he was part of the project that created Revenant, and Revenant hates his guts. So throughout issue 4, Revenant is trying to get to Tartable so he can kind of blame him for what happened and then do some nasty things to him with his knife. So you hit back Revenant real quick. So Revenant's best friend is his blade. So he likes to use bladed weapons a lot because he thinks that they hurt more. So his curved blade is named Mr. Idiom, and his other knife has a different name. So we'll talk about that later. And unfortunately, he loses his best friend, Mr. Idiom, in issue 4. So he has to get a new knife with a new name that he's going to use to bleed people out.
Wow.
So that covers.
So in his mind, he kind of gives his knife like a personality.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, that has a lot to do with his inability to either interface with other people or to be able to say that situations that he puts himself in probably aren't good, but he doesn't care because he's Revenant. Why would he care that anyone else is being hurt by his actions?
It almost like Tom Hanks with Wilson in Castaway. He puts a personality, dependability into the knife. Got you.
Right. So we will shoot over and check out. So we do have a Substack that will be part of goes along with kind of like the stream. So it's also called ComicsBurgh on the Edge. So we'll jump over there. Oh, that is not the one I want to send. So it's this one. So you can sign up. I kind of send out a newsletter probably once a month. Unless I forget something, then it's twice a month. And then if I forget something else, maybe it's 3 or 4 times a month. Like it's not on time, but it's always there. So I say it's late, but it's on time, kind of thing. So jump over to theedgecomic.substack.com. Check it out. There's always stuff coming up, and I do send out, if you are a paid subscriber, I do send out stuff just for paid subscribers that sometimes unlocks later for other people. Sometimes will not unlock later for other people. So check that out. So we'll jump over to, I think, maybe the ComicsBurgh website, and we'll show what we got there. So we're trying more to keep up with events on here. So generally, it's me or Grant that's adding events to the page. So, but we got all the comics that are available in the store and on the website. So The Edge, Beowulf, Memoirs of the Morbid, The Theme of Thieves, Herrenberg, League of Cryptids. And if we jump over to our comics section, we've got Blowtorch. We've got Daisy Chain also. So as I said, is that ComicsBurgh is trying to do a lot of different things in the comics realm. Like we want to help comic shops. We want to try to bring new readers in. We want to try to bring new creators in. So like we're doing stuff through the library systems here at Pittsburgh. We want to do some stuff in the Pittsburgh public schools, just teaching how to create a comics, and not only just the writing, the drawing, the lettering, the inking, the coloring, but the business aspect of it. And some of the little pitfalls you're going to fall into that Paige will attest to that we didn't know about when we were first starting out. Like it was a long time ago when we started, and a lot of this stuff wasn't out there. Like there was no answers to it. We knew of one printer, was Brainier in Canada, and like unless you were working with Diamond, generally you couldn't print through them unless you were printing 10,000 books. So we're really thankful for the new printers, Comic Impressions, one of them, that you can do a short run of prints and just get your book out there into people's hands. I mean, you don't have to print 10,000 books or 1,000 books. You can print 25, 35, 45. Just to move. I'm going to a convention. I need 100 books. I don't want to print 10,000. I just need 100. So go to Comic Impressions and get 100 books printed and get on your way.
You ready to go?
Yep. And you don't have to figure out where you're going to stack up those things. So,
that's right.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that people don't think about is I ordered 10,000 books. Where am I going to put them at? So you don't want to incur another cost of warehousing. So you're talking about either you have a room or a garage, or you're renting a storage space or other places where you got to store these books at. So you only want to get what you think you're going to sell, and then once you go through those, you just order more. Generally, you got like a month lead time in most of the cases to get your books. So if you're not ready to go, and you got something coming up in a month, you say, I just need a quick run, get my books and get going, and don't have to worry about where you're going to put them at.
That's right.
So the next thing we'll jump on is the Edge website. Yep, we'll go to the edge.com. So this is the Edge website, and you see that there's the link there if you want to ever sign up for ComicsBurgh on the Edge. So that's the edgecomic.com. We've got character sections, we got sections for the book, we got contacts, we got a store, we got information on the action figures, the retailers, and then the page for Octavus. So I was talking about the action figures before, and right now we have the Blaine action figure available. The next characters in the set will be Interim, Mystic, and Revenant. Revenant's going to be next. So we want to make sure that when you get your Blaine and you don't want him to fight your G.I. Joes, you can fight Revenant.
Now, what size is this Blaine action figure coming in?
This is 1/18 scale, so G.I. Joe size. Or sorry, 1980s G.I. Joe size, not the current G.I. Joe. So the 1/18 scale, 4 inches. So
okay.
Not 4, but 3.5 inches. So if you collected the old G.I. Joe figures from the 80s, and I think they did the 25th anniversary versions of those in 2010s or so. I mean, those are still available if you're on eBay, or if you have like a action figure store, or you're talking about Joy Toy or Boss Fight. Like they can, Blaine will fight everybody. Revenant, and we know Revenant will fight anybody. So if you've got any of those size scale figures, you can bring the edge to them and beat those characters up. So again, like we're working with Loose Collector on the figures, so they'll be working on all the figures that are all coming soon to either a Kickstarter or a retailer near you. Like we're still working out deals with the action figure stores, like Big Bad and a few other ones. I've contacted like a few toy stores, like independent toy stores around the country about carrying the figure. So coming soon, and we'll see how things go. So that's what the mock-up, what the packaging is going to look like. So you get 4 hands. Some of the hands are gripping, some of them are fists. You get the 2 guns, and you get an extra head. So you'll have Blaine with sunglasses, and then if you don't want Blaine to wear sunglasses, there'll be a head with Blaine without the sunglasses. Before
Now,
someone,
Blaine has been known to have different hairstyles. Would that be at one of the accessibles as
uh,
well?
well, no, because I hated the longer hair, and that's why.
No, okay, okay.
And yeah, so when we were working, Mark was working on it. He gave Blaine the longer hair, and I wasn't a fan of it. Like, he had shoulder length hair, and I didn't really like it. So in the first issue of the book, and I mean, that's probably the only thing we've ever disagreed on was Blaine's hairstyle. We burned his hair off in the first issue. So then we go and he gets the anime point hairstyle. So there's a story behind that too, and we'll explain that why the hair stays like that and never moves. So you see, we got
Okay.
collector, ComicsBurgh insignias on the back of the card. Previously, someone asked about a box, like a dual set with Revenant and Blaine. I mean, we may be able to do that. So we'll see how things go, and we may do like a 2-pack. But again, like I said, that if you find this in retail and it didn't come directly from either a Kickstarter or directly from the website, we'll get you. There'll be a code that you'll get in the packaging that will get you the Blaine High Stakes store book for free. So here's some of Blaine's covers. So, and this will be the cover that will come through the ordering of the action figure. So this will be the cover for the Blaine High Stakes. So you can't see it, but there's cards on the table and chips on the table on this cover.
It looks good. Looks good. I like it.
1 second, I'm just responding to the chat. Okay. All right. So I mean,
How much fun did you have writing Blaine by himself? Next to writing him in the team with the Edge.
Right. I mean, it's different. It's different because, well, when you're writing a team book, you have other characters you can kind of play off as things are moving along in the story. It's a little different writing a singular character because now you're inside that only that one character's head. So like when we're doing the book, we don't do a lot of we do a little bit of it, but not a lot of internal narration. So when you're dealing with a character by itself, so now you have to kind of add that in to the story, doing a little bit more internal characterization because he's not going to just say things out loud to himself. So it's going to be a lot more of that internal dialogue. Those thought bubbles is what they're called when he's talking to himself or thinking something. So it's a little different. And like as a writer, what you want to try to be able to do things in different styles and be able to tell a story either with a team or with a singular character, because some people tell me sometimes it's hard to write for a team because of all of the nuances between the characters. Like, how do you play this character off of this character? What happens if this character does this or that? But me starting out in my writing, I started out with a team book. So going from a team book to a solo book is going to be different. And we're going to do it 3 times. 3 times with Blaine, at least 1 time with Mystic. And then there's going to be a secret book, secret one-shot that we'll talk about as we move along on the Kickstarter. Because it'll be part of the Volume 2 trade. And you'll get to see the background in one of the other characters.
Gotcha.
All right, so we're coming up on 150. I mean, I think I've jabbered a lot, or maybe I've jabbered too much. But Paige, tell them where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me in my projects, of course, on the ComicsBurgh website with the new titles, Blowtorch and Daisy Chain. Daisy Chain will also have a New York Comic Con exclusive at the con. So if you are coming to New York, please stop by table 3935, the comic exposure table, and we will have those exclusives there available for you.
Awesome.
And those would be the only place that you could get those covers as well. So outside the pre-orders in the previews right now.
Nice. So if you're interested in grabbing any of the ComicsBurgh titles, we do have a sampler as part of the Kickstarter where you can get a copy of issue 1 of all the books. If you're
That's
going to
right.
be at New York Comic Con, check out our boy JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. He will be at the show selling he has a new trade out, and his new issues of Unstoppable, his Storm Chasers. They will be included, and we'll be talking about that next week. Issue 9, because issue 9 opens up the whole entire world for other indie creators. So
Fantastic.
so Herrenberg asks, are you going to be at Big Apple Con in New York, Paige?
Only time I'm going to be at New York Comic Con right now.
Okay.
That could change in the future. I am making moves to be at more spots, but right now New York Comic Con is the spot.
Cool. Yep. So I will not be at New York Comic Con this year. Maybe next year. Things got kind of crossed up on setting things up for the show, and kind of missed some deadlines, because we wanted to do the show, and we wanted to do a panel, but things didn't work out. So I mean, maybe next year. So I say is that our next live event will be a local comic shop day at New Dimension Comics in the Waterfront. Our next convention will be Akron Comic Con in November. Beyond that, keep an eye on all the channels. So the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Threads, the websites, and here on YouTube, where we'll be talking about all the things we got going on. And with that, we are going to jump out of here and drop you something to leave us out on for as soon as I find another button. I seem to have lost my buttons here, Paige. I've lost my buttons. Lost my buttons. Oh, there it is. Ha ha! Got it.